There are places on our planet that hold secrets. They are beautiful, yet deadly. One such place is a lake, nestled in the heart of Africa. It looks peaceful. Its waters are a deep, inviting blue. Birds sing in the trees that surround it. But this tranquility hides a terrible power. This lake can kill. It has done so before, silently and without warning. It unleashed a force of nature so rare and so devastating, it wiped out entire villages in a single night. This is not a story of myth or legend. It is a chilling, true account of one of the most unusual natural disasters ever witnessed. A disaster that reminds us that serene landscapes can conceal unimaginable dangers, waiting for just the right moment to be released. This extraordinary lake is called Lake Nyos. It lies in the northwest region of Cameroon, in west-central Africa, nestled within a chain of dormant volcanoes. The lake sits in a crater, a deep circular scar on the landscape. It was carved by a phreato-magmatic eruption just 400 years ago, not a slow lava flow, but a violent, explosive encounter between superheated magma and groundwater. This region follows the Cameroon volcanic line, a 1,600-kilometer chain of volcanoes. While the peaks are dormant, the earth beneath them is far from quiet. Deep below, magma continues to degas, releasing immense quantities of carbon dioxide that seep silently upwards through fractures in the planet's crust. For centuries, this was a place of serene beauty, a picturesque basin in a sea of green. To the small communities that called the fertile slopes home, Nyos was a landmark, a constant, peaceful presence in their lives. They grew crops in the rich volcanic soil, herded their cattle, and lived in close harmony with the land. The water was clear, the setting picturesque. Local legends spoke of spirits within the lake, but no one could have imagined a scientific reality that was far more terrifying. This is not a vast, sprawling body of water. It is deceptively compact, about 2 kilometers long and just over 1 kilometer wide. But its modest surface area hides a terrifying secret: its depth. Its shores don't gently slope. They plunge dramatically into the water, creating a basin over 200 meters deep. That's the height of a 60-story skyscraper, a colossal volume of water held within the crater. And it is this extreme depth, combined with its location in the tropics, that creates a deadly trap. Unlike most lakes, which turn over with the seasons and mix their water from top to bottom, Lake Nyos is chemically stratified. It is meromictic. Its layers remain separate. The cooler, denser water at the bottom never rises to mix with the warmer, lighter water at the surface. Year after year, decade after decade, the layers remain almost perfectly still. And down in that dark, stagnant bottom layer, the carbon dioxide seeping from the Earth's mantle was dissolving into the water, accumulating under immense pressure. A silent, invisible killer, sealed beneath a tranquil surface. The unique danger of Lake Nyos, and its serene beauty, is a deception. Its story begins not with water, but with fire. This is a maar, a crater lake born from a violent volcanic eruption thousands of years ago. And deep beneath its tranquil surface, the forces that created it are still at work. Beneath the lake bed lies a chamber of magma, constantly releasing gases from deep within the earth, primarily carbon dioxide. This invisible gas finds pathways upward, seeping silently through fissures in the rock and into the lake's deepest waters. Normally, seasonal temperature changes cause lakes to turn over, mixing the layers and safely releasing any dissolved gas. But Lake Nyos is in the tropics, where stable temperatures prevent this mixing. This creates permanent stratification. Cold, dense water is trapped at the bottom, sealed off from the surface. The immense pressure from the 200 meters of water above forces the CO2 to dissolve, locking it in place. Like a soft drink in a bottle that can never be opened, the gas just keeps accumulating. Year after year, the concentration grew, reaching a state of supersaturation. The deep water became a ticking time bomb, holding an estimated 1.6 million tons of dissolved CO2. This deadly combination of a deep, stratified lake sitting atop a steady gas source is exceptionally rare, making Nyos the most infamous example in the world. The system was in a state of terrifyingly delicate balance. All it needed was a trigger, a landslide, A small earthquake, or even a heavy storm could disturb the layers, pushing the deep, saturated water upward into a zone of lower pressure. This would be catastrophic. As that water rises, the pressure drops, and the dissolved CO2 would violently erupt out of solution in a runaway chain reaction. The sudden rush of bubbles would force the water to surge upward even faster, releasing more gas in an unstoppable cascade. Scientists call this a limnic eruption, a silent killer about to be unleashed. The most shocking fact is the nature of the killer. It wasn't fire or water, but an invisible, odorless, tasteless gas, carbon dioxide. For centuries, this volcanic crater lake was a trap. Deep beneath its floor, magma steadily leaked CO2 into the cold bottom layers. The pressure built for decades, saturating the lake with dissolved gas, turning it into a ticking time bomb. Because CO2 is heavier than air, it doesn't dissipate. It hugs the ground, flowing like a dense, invisible river. This suffocating blanket displaces oxygen. In high concentrations, the gas itself is a poison, causing rapid loss of consciousness. There is no struggle, no gasping for air. Victims simply feel a sudden dizziness before consciousness fades into a final, silent sleep. Tragically, there had been a clear warning. 2 years earlier, nearby Lake Manoon released a similar cloud, killing 37 people. The cause, a rare limnic eruption, was identified, but the findings were still being debated by scientists when disaster struck again. For the people living in the shadow of Lake Nyos, the threat remained completely unknown. No safety measures were in place. Evening began like any other around Lake Nyos. The water was serene, a beautiful and trusted neighbor. Families gathered, settling in for the night, utterly unaware their peaceful lake was about to betray them. Then, around 9:30, a deep rumbling came from the lake. Survivors described it as thunder, but the sky was clear. It was a sound from the earth itself. Suddenly the lake's surface violently erupted. A colossal plume of water and gas rocketed over 100 meters into the air, creating a massive wave. The delicate balance was broken. The deep, gas-rich water surged upwards, and the dissolved CO2 exploded out of solution in a catastrophic chain reaction. But the real danger was the silent aftermath. The immense cloud of CO2, heavier than air, collapsed and poured over the crater's rim. It surged down the valleys at nearly 50 kilometers per hour, a silent, suffocating tide 50 meters deep, reaching villages 25 kilometers away. As the gas blanketed the landscape, the world fell silent. Cooking fires died, engines stalled, breath ceased. People, livestock, birds, even insects, anything in the cloud's path was extinguished in moments. The only survivors were those on high enough ground to keep their heads above the deadly, 50-meter-deep layer. One man, Joseph Nquine, was on his motorcycle when he collapsed on a high patch of road. When he awoke hours later, he was surrounded by an unnerving, absolute silence. He returned to his village to find a scene of chilling normality. The homes were untouched, but the people, his family, friends, and neighbors, were all dead, lying as if they had simply fallen asleep. The villages had become ghost towns. Over 1,700 people and 3,500 livestock perished, without a single building being destroyed. The accounts of the survivors would be the first clues for a world trying to comprehend the unthinkable. The night the lake itself became a weapon of mass destruction. At dawn, the scale of devastation emerged. A profound silence where life had been. No birdsong, no lowing of cattle, no human voices. Entire communities were gone. A valley of death. An estimated 1,746 lives lost. Over 3,500 livestock perished. Victims lay where they were, at bedsides, dinner tables, along paths. No collapse, no struggle, no visible cause, only stillness. Most who lived were higher up. Many had lost everyone. Confusion, breathing problems, skin burns from acidic gas. The world sought answers. A team pieced the evidence together. The culprit? A massive limnic eruption of carbon dioxide. Survivors were evacuated. Valleys became silent memorials. Deep water became supersaturated, held under immense pressure. A disturbance sent the gassy water rising, pressure dropped, bubbles formed, degassing cascaded, a violent, self-amplifying eruption. Dense CO2 hugged the ground, pushing oxygen away. The lake had to be made safe. A degassing pipe, like a giant straw, down to the gassy depths. Once started, bubbles lighten the column, creating a natural siphon. At the surface, gas vents in a controlled stream. Water returns to the lake. One pipe in 2001, two more in 2011, working around the clock. Risk reduced, but vigilance remains essential. Another threat, the eroding dam. Reinforcement is underway. Today, a fragile peace endures, kept by science and respect for nature's power.